Make sure I got a good angle here so you can see the fretboard. Alright, I'm going to pick up where I left off last time. We were talking about the chromatic scale, playing it in position in 1 octave fragments, and then across each string. Right? Which is kind of where we left off. You might want to, as far as, I did talk about doing it in position, doing it in first position starting from each note, which there are going to be 12 different 1 octave scales in there, starting on E and then working through the notes. Once you get up there, you'll be back at E, and then you've played them all. I would continue play them up into the higher octave. Alright, anyway, as far as playing them along one string, we didn't touch on this last time. We just played them along one string, starting on the open string. Should also do them starting at different notes along the string. We did it, for example, on the low E string, starting on E and going up to the octave. Try doing it, from F up to the octave, F sharp up to the octave, G up to the octave, so on. So, kind of an easy way to finger it is to just use all 4 fingers and then shift. Then when you get up to the octave, just shift your hand up 1. When you get to the bottom, shift. So that was it, starting on F, starting on F sharp. Starting on G. Okay, you get the idea. I showed you that fingering because it's easy to play that way. Don't get locked into just learning that fingering. Listen to the scale as you're playing it. That it's an octave chromatically. Okay, so that's kind of just the tail end of what I was talking about in the last video. And I want to talk about half steps and whole steps. An octave is 12 half steps. If I start on this low E up to that high E, that's 12 half steps. Starting there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Same thing if I play it in position. Starting on the low E, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Half step is the smallest interval in Western music. You get into Eastern music, you get into quarter tones. But half steps are as small as we get in Western music. And I talked in the last video about how if you know that chromatic scale, all the other scales are derived from that scale. So scales, be they 5-note, 6-note, 7-note, 8-note, what have you, they're just a way of taking that octave and chopping it into different combinations of half steps. Okay, so we'll start with the most familiar one to everybody, and that's the major scale, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. You should all be very familiar with that sound. So like I said, that's just a combination of half steps and whole steps. It's just taking that octave and chopping it into a pattern of half steps and whole steps. So the major scale is built, starts on whatever note you start on, it goes whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, and half step. And to back up for a second, a half step on the guitar is a distance of 1 fret. A whole step is a distance of 2 frets. So if you know that pattern of half steps and whole steps for the major scale, whole, half, whole, half. It's also a good idea to learn how that pattern of whole and half steps works coming down. Coming down, playing a descending major scale, it goes half, whole, 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 half, whole, whole. So, do that maybe now in position. If you try to play a major scale in position, you're going to have to hunt and peck a little bit, but that's a good thing. Okay, I'm going to leave it up to you to figure that out. All 12 major scales are right here in first position. And again, this do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, that sound should be in your head already from years of, being exposed to music. Just to show you. That's as far as I can get in first position. I played all 12 scales there. I started in E and went all the way up. It starts again over here. You're back in the key of E, but you're in a higher octave, and then it goes up to G sharp or A flat. So all 12 scales are available. All 12 one-octave major scales are available in first position. Some of them are available in 2 octaves. Okay, so you might do something like we've been doing in the other videos where you say, I'm sorry, I'll do it along the first string. And again, it's a pattern of whole steps and half steps. So if I start on F, it goes whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. Coming down from that high F, it goes half, whole, 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 half, whole, whole. And again, whole step is 2 frets, half step is 1 fret. The point here is to hear the sound and visualize it on the fretboard. So I did it along the 6th string there. I'm going to do that F scale in first position. Now again, it's going to take you some trial and error to get this, but it's been narrowed down that they're all there. Okay, and you're not going to move your hand out of position. So F, F sharp, whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. Coming down, it's half, whole, 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 half, whole, whole. And then in position it's way more of an ear thing. G, whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. Coming back down, half, whole, 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 half, whole, whole. In position. G sharp, A flat. Starting from that G sharp, A flat note, building that major scale, that pattern of whole steps and half steps. Whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. Coming back down, half, whole, 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 half, whole, whole. In position. Alright, let me see if I can get through this. I'm going to go to the A string and I'm just going to try and see if I can get through them in a somewhat efficient manner here. I'm going to play it along one string, then I'm going to play it in first position. F sharp from there. G. G sharp. A. Actually, I should have stopped on the previous scale because I have to reach out of first position to get that high A. So I think you get the idea here. Let's also talk about the major triad. A triad is just a 3-note chord. Okay, and to build a triad, you've got 3 notes. You've got the root, the third, the fifth, and then take it back up to the octave. Root, third, fifth, octave. From the root to the third is 2 whole steps. From the third to the fifth is 3 half steps. And then from the fifth up to the octave is 5 half steps. So root, 2 whole steps to the third, step and a half to the fifth, 2 and a half steps back to the octave. And coming down from the octave, 2 and a half steps back down to the fifth, step and a half down to the third, 2 steps down to the root. And again, bear in mind, a half step is 1 fret, a whole step is 2 frets. So I'm going to try and keep this video a little short here. I'm going to just kind of run that whole deal. I'm going to play major triads along each string and in first position. Root, 2 steps up to the third, step and a half up to the fifth, 2 and a half steps to the octave. Coming down, it's root, 2 and a half steps down to the fifth, step and a half down to the third, 2 steps down to the root. Okay, so just to recap, major scale. Starting on whatever note goes, it's a pattern of whole and half steps. Start on your first note of the scale, whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. Coming down, half, whole, 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 half, whole, whole. Whole step is 2 frets, half step is 1 fret. arpeggio. I'm sorry, not arpeggio. Forget I said arpeggio. Triad. I am arpeggiating them, but triad. Just think of it as a triad. 3-note chord triad. The intervallic construction of that. Root, 2 steps up to the 3rd, 1.5 up to the 5th, 2.5 steps up to the octave. Coming back down. Root, 2.5 steps down to the 5th, 1.5 down to the 3rd, and 2 steps to the root. 2 steps is going to be 4 frets. 1.5 is going to be 3 frets. 2.5 steps is going to be 5 frets. All right. And again, you just play them along a string. Play them in first position. When you're playing it along one string, just you can follow the construction of it. You can just follow your way up that string and just play the pattern of whole steps and half steps. When you're doing it in position, you're going to have to use your ear, but it's a very familiar sound. You might think of when you're doing the triad, it's kind of like a vocal warm up. You know, that if you that might help you reference a sound that you're familiar with. Okay, I'm going to stop now because I think I'm through rambling. And again, obviously don't just play this stuff. You'll drive yourself nuts. But if you can incorporate some of this into your practice, it's really going to help coordinate your ear, your eye, your hands, your fretboard visualization. Trust me, it's going to help. Okay, see you later.